Chapter 1, after the first verse, in verses 2 and 3, he immediately goes into God's judgment saying, I will wipe out everything from the earth, says the Lord. I will destroy humanity and the beasts. I will destroy the birds in the sky and the fish in the sea. I will make the wicked into a heap of ruins. I will eliminate humanity from the earth, says the Lord. Ouch. What he is essentially doing is it's a reversal of the creation story. Instead of God building things up, God is taking things down. And this is really scary stuff. Keep in mind, though, that this is also poetic language, so the language here intends to communicate not only what God's heart is, but the greater truth of what's in God's heart. And truthfully speaking, what Zephaniah is talking about is about the Babylonian invasion and the subsequent exile. That's coming. It's coming. Prepare for that moment. But also, the greater truth that Zephaniah is communicating is not so much that God will destroy all things, heaven and earth and the fish and the sea and all those other things. I mean, this is worse than Noah's Ark. At least in Noah's Ark, or for Noah, God spared the beasts and the fish in the sea. In this case, he says no. But what he's communicating is something larger than that. That God will judge all of creation. That God stands in that place. This is where that famous prophetic expression comes, the day of the Lord. The day of the Lord is coming. And whenever the Bible talks about the day of the Lord, practically all the occasions, it communicates a day of judgment. It relates to a day of judgment. And in contrast, and I found this very interesting, that this whole idea of days of the Lord, whenever the Bible has the expression, quote, in that day, or on that day, unquote, it's almost connected with a time of heeding, a time of receiving God's blessing. For example, Isaiah chapter 12, verse 1 says, on that day, not in the day of the Lord, but on that day, I will say thank you, Lord. Though you were angry with me for a while, your anger turned away, and you comforted me. It's a beautiful word. But like I said, the language here its intent is to communicate something deeper, something that's at the heart of God. So it's there to communicate that God is the judge of all, that he will stand in judgment of all things in the earth, both the good and the bad, and everything in between. But also that its intent is to communicate that because God's creation has abandoned him, God's people, Jerusalem, the people that God chose, the people that God said, you will be to me a nation of priests. Throughout all the kingdoms, and all people will come here to worship and to know the one true God. It says, because all of creation has abandoned him, now, for whatever reason, all of creation is working backwards. They're working contrary to God's will. They're not living into what God's purpose was for them, but they're just doing something altogether different. Even those, in Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, he says that even those who are supposed to be representing God's interests, the princes, the prophets, the priests, the judges, and don't think of judges like the judges of the court of law. Think of judges like Samson and Samuel and Deborah. Those judges who and Baruch, those judges who stood as political / religious figures that both saved the nation of Israel against their enemies and also led the people back to God. He says, these people, the princes, the prophets, the priests, the judges, are all doing more harm than good. Everything is working backwards. Now, Zephaniah was as intense as they come. And I think that in part it has to do with, because he had seen so much good go bad. During Zephaniah's prophetic time, time of prophecy as a prophet, he worked under the ministry of King Josiah. And between the northern and the southern kingdom, there were about 43 kings. And out of those 43, the Bible only talks about 6 of them as being good. Out of 43 kings, the rest of them did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and then they died, and that was the end of their story. So Zephaniah and King Josiah was one of those 6 good kings. And he was, in fact, he was so God-fearing. He was brought into the kingdom at the age of 8. And throughout his kingdom, he brought in religious and political reform. Under his watch, with Zephaniah, Zephaniah was a contemporary of prophets like Haggai and Malachi and Jeremiah. But under his leadership, they restored God's law. They restored the word. They increased the worship of Yahweh. In 2 Kings chapter 22 describes how is it that one day King Josiah, he's rebuilding the temple and all the ruins and whatnot, and he sends one of his accountants to go into the treasury, go get some money so we can pay the carpenters. And he goes in there and comes out with the law, the long lost law of God, and he starts to read it to him. The Bible says that King Josiah was cut to the heart, and he tore his clothes in repentance, and he decreed to everyone must listen to this. We all have to listen to God's word. I can't believe that this has been lost all of this time. And so there's this great light. There's this magnificent light, and that is where Zephaniah is. In the middle of all that. He's seeing his nation restored to the way it should have been, or the way it was, or to the way that they always imagined or dreamed it should be. And then Josiah died. And Jerusalem and Israel went back to living as if God didn't exist. And then ended up in Babylon in exile. Then darkness came in. Now what does this have to do with Darknes? You might be asking yourself, this is not a good in this introduction. But Advent is about coming out of the darkness and into the light. That's why we have the candles as a symbol of us walking closer into that light. And the closer we get to Christmas, the closer we get to Christ's birth, the more powerful this light becomes in our life. The more clear we can see God's salvation. At the end of this indictment, as so often in the prophetic utterances of God's prophets, there's this amazing shift. There's this, what some theologians call this grand reversal. And alongside God's judgment comes God's recreating powerful love. See, because God can never stop being who He is. Though God may judge and though things may happen in our lives, God's love will not reward us all. It seems that in spite of the worldwide outpouring of God's judgment, God is doing these great things, these great acts of mercy described in the reading that we had today. The Bible says in Zephaniah 3:9, God will renew the world's heart towards His love. Then I will change the speech of the peoples into a pure speech, and all of them will call on the name of the Lord and will serve Him as one. Secondly, God will remove the sin of His people, verses 11 and 12. On that day, you won't be ashamed of all your deeds with which you sinned against me. God will take away the shame. I will remove from your midst those boasting in pride. No longer will there be the pride on my holy mountain. I will cause a humble and powerless people to remain in your midst, those who seek refuge in the name of the Lord. See, though Zephaniah had a lot of gloom and gloom, at the end of it all, he had an equally powerful word of hope, because Zephaniah can't get away from God's mercy. That's why the psalmist would say, Lord, your mercy endures forever. Zephaniah couldn't get away from the fact that God is a compassionate God and a merciful God. And as the psalmist declared, his anger endures for a moment, but His favor lasts for a lifetime. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So they saw that Zephaniah, he couldn't help but to see God's love being poured out. Though God may judge his people, though they may walk in darkness, though you may not feel so connected to God, though you may live in shame for sin and for the things that you've done and that you've left and that you haven't done, God says, I'll wipe that all away. I'll take it all out of the way. I'm creating something new. And and there's a beautiful expression that we read on verse 17. And it really makes me think about God in different ways. And this is what it says. God will sing over his people a song of salvation. He will rejoice over you, the Bible says, he will rejoice over you with gladness. He will renew you in his love. He will exult over you with loud singing. Can you imagine what it would be like to hear God singing? Could you imagine what that's like? I mean, that's an amazing expression from a prophet that had so much doom and gloom. To think about God doing something new, unheard of in the other prophets. There's another prophet that says God will laugh, but God will laugh at his enemies. Nothing about God will sing over his beloved. Like a love song. Like a song a song to entice you, like the sirens of the merchants, of the sailors, I'm sorry. Enticing you to come into his grace and into his mercy and into his love. Remember that it was merely a spoken word that brought the universe into existence. God said, let there be light, and there was light. And let the earth separate from the waters, and it was so. And God said, but what would happen if God lifted up his voice and not only spoke, but sang? Perhaps that would bring about a whole new creation, something altogether new. When the shepherds were out there in the fields, the Bible says that the angels appeared, and what did they do? They sang. Glory to God in the highest. Glory to God in the highest. They sang to God. They sang to God's glory. God sings so that we might hear his song of salvation. See, God rejoices in his people. God's joy is never in judgment, but in the restoration, in the lifting up, and the healing, in the reconnecting with his people, with his creation, with all people. God's joy is in making all things new. That's what Jesus said on the cross. Behold, I make all things new. See, God's song is his invitation for us to participate in his life. And when we hear God sing that song of salvation, we hear those words, come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, all of you who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Come to me, for in my Father's house there are many rooms, and I go to prepare a place for you. Come to me, for everyone who believes in me will not perish, but will have everlasting life. Come to Christ's life, to his joy. Come into the place that Christ prepares for us. A place of rest, a place of renewal. A place where the shames of life, the pride of life, the chains that hold us down, all the things that are imposed upon us no longer have that grasp over our lives. A place where we can truly rest in him. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the joy that comes from getting to know you. We thank you, Lord God, for the joy that comes from being your people. And we pray, Lord, make us sensitive to the song of your salvation. Let us enter into the full joy of participating in your life, a life of healing and hope, a life of restoration, a life of peace and joy. Let us, as your people, Almighty God, share the grace we have received from you with others.